Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out chapters 73 and 74 of Tower of God. So last few chapters, we kind of summed up all of the stuff that was going on with Lady Yuri and Ren. Ren got a little bit smushed, but it wasn't his real body, so it's a little less satisfactory than I would have liked. And Lady Yuri, of course, not directly getting involved because Princess of Jihad and going against the orders of Jihad very overtly would probably be a bad choice for her. So she has the Black March and the Green April, got both of those with her now. So at least there's some closure to that one. Everyone is kind of decided that Bomb is going to have to take care of the rest of the test by himself, with the exception of like the thieves and worms and stuff that like Kun and friends are still in the midst of taking care of, though there was a brief moment of them getting distracted by the whole Lady Yuri and her friends thing. But we're just gonna have to let Bomb and Rachael figure out the rest of the test, which is, you know, the thing that we're actually here to do after all of the detours that we did. But we did have the one little hiccup of the bull still being around, not actually taken care of yet, and is currently swimming towards the little bubble that Bomb and Rachael are currently in. So we will see how that works out. I honestly don't know. I am waiting for Bomb to do something explosive, dangerous. I feel like something is gonna happen with his abilities and I'm just waiting for the moment, but I'm sure that it'll be fine. It's like I said in the last couple of chapters, I'm sure that he will survive. I just don't know what state of survival he will be in. That's where I'm at with the Bomb part of this story. Let's just get into chapter 73. Chapter 73. We're doing a flashback, which is interesting. I guess setting up some more of the Bomb-Rachael relationship, friendship, dependency. I don't really know what to call it. I do like that they're playing like a game though, because one, it's like very childish and innocent, but I've already talked about before that navigating the tower feels very much like a game, like a chessboard, a strategy game. I think chess just because I grew up in the West and that's like the go-to strategy game, but there's lots of different kinds, and seeing them playing a game that involves like pieces and moving around on a board and stuff like that is very reminiscent of, you know, going through the tower, going through these tests, and seeing that Bomb is kind of hesitant or taking his time, there's a patience to it, I think very much shows what he's like as a person. So I like having those parallels. I also like the fact that it's like him doing something that no one else saw, you know, him finding a different way, which I think is also probably some good foreshadowing of there's kind of like this set choices of strategies and how to navigate through a situation, and then Bomb finding that one alternative that nobody saw, no one thought of, that ends up helping him in some way or getting him closer to his goals and things like that. I also wonder if Bomb is intentionally lengthening out the game, because Rachel's saying like games with you take longer. I wonder if he's intentionally making the game last as long as possible because he wants to continue that interaction with someone. And I remember I was reading through some of the comments on one of my other Tower of God videos, and someone brought up the fact that like Bomb is a little bit selfish in that his whole motivation is he doesn't want to be alone. He knows what it's like to be like absolutely isolated. So having people around him and feeling as if he can continue those interactions, continue to have them want to be around him, I think is a very important thing for him. It's like a weak point for him of people not wanting him around. And we've seen him before ask if he's like annoying someone, or if he's overstepping, or if he's getting in the way. He's always very conscious of whether or not he is inconveniencing people, and is someone who spends a lot of time apologizing for inconveniencing people with my existence. I feel that. You know, so the fact that he might actually be drawing out the game and drawing out their time together just because he wants to keep Rachael there and feel like he's important to her. I think this is important too, of like Rachael saying I have something important to do and it doesn't include you, I think is also something that Bomb's very insecure about. Aw, poor darling. He's like, I just want us to continue to play games together. I'm still so curious about why Bomb is locked up. Like, the memory loss was one thing, and you can kind of explain that away with like maybe head trauma or just like trauma in general, where you end up like suppressing memories and stuff like that. But and I mean that going through a trauma is a whole backstory in and of itself, but the fact that he's like locked up is what's most curious to me. Like, what do you have to do as a very young child to get locked up in complete isolation? I'm just saying. I would like some context for that one. And like, so Rachael can like leave and come back, which is interesting. Like, who is Rachael and why is she coming to see Bomb? Why is she allowed? Why does she want to? Is there a job to that? Has she been chosen for some reason? What are the motives to that? I think it says a lot to the line of, there's nothing I can do alone. I think that's very much how Bom feels. He feels like he needs to have someone there to give support, to have someone with them. Like him being so reliant on having like Kun and Rock with him, and he's just leaned on them a lot, which is fine. Like they're friends and they want to help him and stuff like that. But he's kind of held himself back from developing as his own person because he relies on so many other people and he doesn't think that he has anything special to him individually. He's very much, I think he sees himself as like an empty shell, even though that's not who he is anymore. I think because he was that with like the lack of memories, meaning that you lack a lot of what makes you who you are, or at least like knowledge of other things and who you are and how you react to certain situations, certain people, and that kind of a thing. So I think he still sees himself as that empty shell. And then now he's developed into more and more of his own person. And now we see him in a situation where he has himself and Rachael. Rachel's there. I'm assuming that we might be foreshadowing that there's a separation of those two in some way, and Bom will have to like take care of stuff on his own, and him still having that mindset of there's nothing I can do alone, I think is something he's gonna have to break through, because he can definitely do some stuff on his own. I'm sure he's gonna do some crazy things once he really like allows himself and acknowledges that he can do, you know, wonderful things, terrifying things on his own. I still love this imagery of, I know it's like the fish and stuff, but it does look like a night sky with like stars and like gas clouds and stuff. I like the parallel of that because of how important like the stars are in the night sky is to Rachael. Yeah, there's not much left. I'm very nervous because we're getting so close to the end of the season. Like, I want to know what happens, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for what happens. Oh, the sad smile. I mean, at least it doesn't hurt anymore. Glass half full. They're still not looking at each other though, which I think is so symbolic. Like, we've gone from that scene, the flashback, where they were literally facing each other, and now we have this scene where they're talking and they're back to back. It's a, you know, that complete flip of their relationship after everything that's happened. Aw. Bom is so sweet. He's so loyal and sweet, and I adore him, and I still don't trust Rachael. I feel a little bit bad, but I get up. I don't know. There's something about her vibe. And I'm just like waiting. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it's like confirmation bias. Maybe I'm just protective of Bom, and I feel like she doesn't care about him as much as he does, or like even close. I don't think she even meets him like halfway. I think Bom is like convenient as opposed to someone that she legitimately cares a lot about. And I think that that's why I'm like defensive. I'm like, I care more about Bom than you do. Are we going to get some backstory? Because I feel like there has to be some more layers to the stars. I still stand by my prediction that it's a freedom thing, but it could also be something else. I do think though, like, it's so telling to Bom's loyalty that in this moment, he's like, I don't know why you want to do this thing, why you want to go to the top of the tower and see the stars and all that. He doesn't understand the motivation, but he's just like, yeah, I'll help you. Because that's like where he's at in his relationship with Rachael, is he's like, I'll just help you with whatever it is without asking too many questions about it, which I feel like is like loyal, but also kind of too trusting. I feel like maybe you should question the motive a little bit, you know? Maybe just find out if it's actually for her own good or whatever. Maybe I'm just too controlling. I do have a thing about needing to like understand things, okay? I take apart things and I try to understand how they work. So maybe I'm overanalyzing. Aww. The little my star was always you though. Why is he so sweet? Where can I find a Bom? Maybe I shouldn't word it like that. Where can I find someone who can be a friend like that for me? Who just like says sweet things. I would be so nice to him. I love all of the like really pulled back shots though. We kind of had this close up with them at the beginning of the conversation, and then we've had all of these shots where that's very pulled out. So you can't like see the expressions on their faces. You can't see how they're interacting with each other, which I think in this case isn't about like masking anything or like framing in a weird way. In this case, I think it's symbolic of the fact that they're not looking at each other. They're not communicating in a way where they can actually read each other in terms of their body language and their facial expressions and stuff like that. It's very much just their words, and pulling back, you can see this huge space around them with the water and the fish around them and stuff, but it is, you're making them seem smaller in frame. And I feel like that's part of the symbolism of us pulling back, is they're kind of literally but also metaphorically like floating in this empty space as they're talking about these topics. They don't really know how to interact with each other anymore. They don't really know how to communicate their thoughts and their motivations and what's going on. We have all these asides of Bom saying one thing out loud and then switching to his internal thoughts, things that he's not sharing with Rachael. So it's making them feel smaller in this very big, empty-ish space, darker space. You know, if you think of them being underwater, sound doesn't travel the same way underwater. So it also feels like this kind of distortion to what they're saying and stuff like that. Like, I like that we're pulling back and kind of dealing with the symbolism of them being this tiny little pocket in this huge, you know, water darkness, and like hostile environment. There's a little moment of peace right now, but they are in an environment that is not welcome to their presence there, and they're having these more vulnerable conversations. Just a nice framing decision. Interesting that we immediately get a place without darkness. After me talking about that, them being in this dark expanse, and then them talking about this alternative where it's just full of life and happiness and color and all of these things that is very different from where they are. You know, I like the contrast of that. Aww. And him saying, like, I wanted to be in that space. I mean, that makes a lot of sense for Bam as someone who grew up in, like, alone in a dark place with nothing there, and it's all like browns and dark earth colors. And then to him to think of like festivals with people and dancing and brightly colored fruit and that kind of a thing, very contrastive to that. And I'm sure that he does wish to be in that kind of place. I think, okay, so interesting for like Bam to say like I wasn't chosen. One thing is like another way he's isolated is he wasn't chosen, which means that he's not included in the group. And even with him being like an irregular in a world of regulars, he's isolated. Even if people don't treat him that way, he still has that in his mind that he is something slightly outside of the group. He has a different title, different name, different category to him. And then saying like I wasn't chosen kind of feeds into that isolation and that loneliness. But we also have Rachael in shadow and we can't see her eyes while that's being said. And that kind of goes back to my question of why is Rachael interacting with Bam? Is she also not one of the chosen? Is she also being punished in some way? I feel like it might be some foreshadowing though, because we have Bam with a light source on his side and not on Rachael's. She's also further outside of the frame, which part of it is just like so you can get the text boxes in as well. But I think it's interesting that she's kind of this shadowy figure almost pushed out of frame. It's almost like the symbolism of her trying to like get away from the conversation, you know, like her trying to separate herself from kind of the image of what Bam thinks she is and then who she actually is. Why do I feel like this is going to be crushed in some way? Like this sentiment of Bam being happy just being with Rachael, why do I feel like this is going to be something that shatters? Like there's going to be a point where I don't know if hate is too strong of a word, but he very much dislikes being around Rachael. Why do I feel like that's going to happen? Or at least that's what she thinks is going to happen. Because now we can see her eyes as she kind of turns towards the light, but she's still in that strong shadow. I know she's hiding something. I just don't know what it is. Aw, I like how he's like, I did change. I cut my hair. You're so cute. I want you to have everything you've ever wanted. As long as it's good for you. Oh, I like the little recap though of him being like, I've done things. Yes, you have. You've grown up so much. I think like the core though of who Bam is still the same. It's just that he's kind of developed more into his own person, which is why I'm scared about what's gonna happen. Because I feel like what's gonna happen is something central to who Bam is going to shift. And I don't think it's gonna be that he becomes happier and more content with where he is in life. I think it's gonna be that he realizes something is missing or something isn't what he thought it was. I don't want it. I want him to stay just a sweetheart, which, I mean, I think at his core he will be. I think he's just like a compassionate person. I want him to stay in his little ignorant bubble where everything will be fine. I like that Ho gets to be here though, because I feel like that's a very huge thing to Bam. Because I think that I don't know if he remembers losing someone that he considered a friend. So I feel like Ho is gonna continue to be a moment in his life that he like continues to pull like experiences from. Aww, the sad smile though. I mean, he can do things by himself if he tries. He just doesn't like to. He likes having people be there with him. Like he's like, no, I'm not scared. No. I do like that if we're gonna talk about some of Bam's growth up to this point, I feel like earlier on in the series, if someone had just been like, this is who you are, Bam would have just been like, okay, and gone along with it and not been very confrontational, especially with Rachael. And now we're seeing him go like, now hang on, I've gotten stronger. You know, and he's like, and I'm not scared of everything. We're seeing him stand up for himself a little bit, even if it's in like a joking kind of bickering way, but he is like willing to assert that he is aware of who he is as an individual, separate of like what other people think of him, which I think is a big step for him. Oh, never trust an I'm sorry when you can't see the character's eyes. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if it's just like her guilt I feel like she's also dealing with a lot of trauma and stuff because obviously she was horrifically injured. I don't know. Bomb will probably forgive her unless it's like really, really bad. I'm trying to think of like how bad something would have to be for Bomb not to forgive her, and I just hope that that is something that doesn't happen. I have this little nagging voice in my brain that's like, she's gonna do something that Bomb can't forgive her for, and I don't want it to be true, but there's a part of me that thinks it will happen. What's all your fault though? It's a very umbrella term. What are we taking fault for is my question. Like, are we taking fault for having Bomb in the tower? Of people getting hurt? Of him changing as a person? What is all your fault? I feel like maybe we need to talk through some of this, deal and process through some things. Talking can help sometimes. I talk too much, but sometimes it can help. Oh good, a shrieking off in the distance. That's always a good sign. Oh, hello? Weird torpedo thing? I'm assuming the bull, just because we've been waiting for that to show up. To, literally shake things up. Yeah, see? Random red glowing and the light from the, like, angler fish thing. Bull. Yeah. There it is. Good. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's totally not gonna make me panic. I like that shot though, of the close-up of his hand and then the lights. You got this. I believe in you. Do the Shinsu thing, but like carefully. I'm like torn between wanting Bomb to do some really cool Shinsu stuff and worried about what it'll unlock in like desperation. Because you can see that of him being like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to protect Rachael. I'm not gonna let any other things happen to her, because I think that Bomb also feels a lot of guilt about what happened and her getting injured in a very life-altering way, and he's, you know, put his foot down and like said like, no, nothing is ever going to happen to her again as long as I have something to say about it, to do about it. When you're that desperate, you can really like pull from resources that you didn't think that you had, which is can be fine, but can also mean that you do something really reckless because you're just so desperate to make sure that you do something to protect whoever it is, or to survive, or whatever might be motivating you. So I'm just worried. I'm worried all around. I feel like my body is like slowly tightening up and like shrinking in on itself, because I'm just like, maybe if I just make myself small, it'll be fine. My protective mechanism. Ooh, good shot of that too. Terrifying, but good shot. Yeah, I'm worried too. We're all a little bit shook about what's happening. Fair enough. Okay, next chapter, everybody. Everybody take some deep breaths. For completely no reason whatsoever, I'm just gonna get Totoro. Just because, you know, I feel like Totoro hasn't been in a video in a while and misses me, and other people might miss Totoro, so I'm gonna hold Totoro for that reason at all. Not because I'm stressed. Yeah, are we getting some medical attention for them? For Endorsi and Anak, they were a little bit roughed up. They got thrown around a bit. I like how Endorsi's like, well, I feel like my guts are gonna fall out, but it's fine. I mean, honestly, I believe that Endorsi's been through worse. I think that it was unpleasant for her, but she has probably dealt with getting beat up a lot, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know how much help they can be now. You know, everyone's kind of like, we can help on the surface, but Bomb with the bull is where things are really going down, and they just kind of have to trust Bomb to be able to deal with that. Yeah, Anak's probably going through some stuff. Between the getting beat up and the finding out that Ren killed her mother and then losing the green April, she's probably processing through some things. So maybe just give her a minute. She tends to be a bit volatile with her emotions, so it's probably best to give a wide radius around Anakville next little bit. I like Endorsi's confidence. I am with you. Again, I think Bomb will survive. I just don't know how much of a fight there's gonna be before that. You know, like I think Bomb can deal with the bull. It's just a matter of what happens during that conversation. There's a huge space of my knowledge between Bomb now and Bomb surviving an interaction with the bull. So we're gonna see what happens, I guess. Am I stalling? Maybe. Again, want to know, not prepared. True. Interesting, like, that Endorsi's, like, I think that's like her specific wording is she believes that Bomb can stop the bull, but that's not the same as defeating it, killing it. If it was someone like Endorsi would kill the bull. That would be her way of dealing with it. Whereas Bomb probably won't. He is not a murderous kind of person, except when he gets a little bit too emotional. But I don't know if he'll actually want to, like, fully deal with the bull. But I do get that the whole like stopping it. I like how Dorsey is like, he'll be able to stop the bull from, I don't know, getting in the way of the test or trying to kill them for now, but that doesn't mean that the bull is dealt with forever. I also really like the parallel of we have the little orb, Bomb and Rachael, in this like place of light, and then we have the light from the bull. Almost like this yin and yang moment. I like it. True, I gotta remember the measurements of Shinzu. Thank you, Pine. That was so long ago that we got that whole breakdown of the measurements of Shinzu. True, he does have a limit of how much he can control at a time, which, like you point out, like limits what strategies he can use because he has to have like one thing at a time. But yeah, no, good point that like he can stop it, he can freeze the bull, but he can't like then use Shinzu to attack it. And we know that he doesn't have the Black March anymore, and hand-to-hand isn't really his thing, so good point. Nice! You stopped it! Now what? What's step 2? Step 1's good. Good. Stopping the bull? Good plan. Need a next step though. Uh-oh. Bomb? I'm very nervous about the whole orb thing. Because they're in this little, like, you know, Shinsu orb and underwater, and, you know, can they swim? How far do they have to swim? I don't know how, like, deep underwater they are. Also, there's Rachael, who has a bit of mobility limitation. Can she swim? Swim to where? Like, even if you get to the surface and you're able to breathe, the bull is still there? So, I have a lot of concerns. Oh, I love the artwork with the fish, though. Just the use of it being, like, almost like points of light, because you get, like, light bouncing off of, like, scales and stuff like that. But it also just adds some dynamics to, like, fill in the space. We've had a lot of shots up to this point because we're in a very dark environment where we've had, like, points of light and then shadow around the edges, which kind of fill in that space. So you can, like, make your character seem really small in the environment to give scale, but you can kind of shadow out some of it. So there's a bit of mystery, a bit of suspense, and you don't have to, like, fill all of that space in. Whereas underwater, I like that the choice of how to fill in the space is with the fish and the, like, life that's happening, because one, it fills in the space and it still, like, lets you have that scale, but also it's a constant reminder that they're supposed to be blending in with the fish to be part of the test. So it's, like, still pulling the reader's attention back to, like, what the actual challenge is, even while we're dealing with the bull and all that. I mean, can they stop the bull and then proceed with the test? If they get eaten, then, like, are they kind of protected? Is the queen good at fighting? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not Coon. I'm not smart enough. Are we trying to, like, quickly switch between the two? I mean, maybe if you can, like, concentrate enough Shinzu to make it work. I feel like the bull is smart enough, though, that if you would have to, like, finish it in one shot, because if you tried to do that again where you, like, froze the bull and then quickly tried to switch into, like, attacking, you'd be able to figure it out, because the bull isn't, like, mindlessly attacking. The bull is intelligent and strategic, so I feel like it's something you can only use once. Ooh, I don't like that we're attacking, because you'd have to kind of attack through the bubble too, which makes me nervous. That better not be Bomb getting hurt. I'm very attached. Oh, I feel like it is. I feel like he probably messed up his hand. And it definitely wasn't enough to, like, actually take care of the bull. So again, it's gonna learn some of the strategy that Bomb is using as he comes up with it. So you can only, like, really use the same strategy, like, once without changing something about it. I like how we're having a callback, though, to the flashback with Bomb being slow in his strategy, which is something that came up with his game with Rachael, which is, like, fine if you're just playing a friendly game with someone, but being slow and coming up with strategies or making moves isn't gonna help you in, like, an actual confrontation. So I like that I'm assuming getting to a point where Bomb has to kind of develop through that. I think he's, like, a very hesitant person in general. Oh, I don't like him being hurt, though. Yes, what now? I would like to know. Just, like, look at the formations of the fish, though. It's so cool. It just adds so much, like, movement and scale to the panel. And it's, like, a very simple thing, because I'm assuming the more I zoom in, they're just, like, marks. Like, they're just, like, little dash lines and a different color. But yeah, just, like, it adds, like, this kinetic feeling to, like, a very stagnant panel. I also really like the isolated text with the panels, because I feel like it adds time to reading. I've talked a little bit before about, like, how to control the pacing of a comic, because you can't actually control how long it takes someone to read or how, like, they pause and talk about stuff, but having the isolated text boxes like we have here, and it continues, you're literally taking up space where, like, someone has to scroll past this space. So you're slowing down the moment, which I feel like gives a little bit of time to breathe for the reader, but also I think it's very symbolic of Bomb, as he's, like, his world is kind of slowing down as he's trying to think through the problem. Aw. It's a little weight to put on him, but it is his test. Like, they do have to let him be the one to succeed or fail, because that's the point of the test. If they were able to, like, do the test for him or complete the test for him, it would be a fail because they would be intervening with his part. So he does have to do it on his own, which he doesn't think he's very good at. It's true, you're gonna have to do this one all on your own, Bum. I mean, Rachel's here, but again, I don't know how much help she'll be. Look how cool that panel is too. The like dynamic of it. I'm just getting distracted by the artwork at this point. You got this, Bum. I super believe in you. Letting it getting really close. Are we gonna attack from the inside? Cause attacking it from the outside messed up his hand. So new strategy. But also be careful. This is not the creature we're supposed to be eaten by in order to complete the test. Just remember that. Yeah, I assume that that was gonna be what happens. The squishy internal part. It's a good strategy, but also be careful. Oh, his hand. Ooh. See, look how cool that is too. Again, using the fish to like add that energy to the whole scene. Wow. I'm oddly proud as someone who had nothing to do with the decision of what just happened. And again, pulling out for that scale. I like it. Ew. I assumed we were successful. I hope so. We didn't get eaten, so that has to be a good sign. I also think it's interesting that like throughout most of these panels with the bull, the only part of the bull that's really been visible or focused on is like the mouth. Just an interesting choice of shifting focus. Oh, hello, the actual creature we were supposed to get eaten by. Oh, I love that too. I love how we have kind of the light up here, which is like the place to which they are trying to get to, and then we just have like the shadow, the silhouette of the bull as it falls down into the shadows. You did it though! Good job! All on your own! Look, see, you can do things by yourself. It's not very easy though. Imagine being Rachel during this though, where it's just like craziness happening behind your back. Aww. We've just not even started your part of the test, so deep breaths. Get ready. You did do it. Boy, yeah, did you do it with your own hands? You should probably, I don't know, bandage the one hand? I don't really know what you can do in this instance, but, you know, be watchful of it. Ooh, I like the symbolism too of how we have Bomb on like his hands and knees on this part, looking down. Like we have this part where he's looking down at the bull as like descends down, and then you have the contrast to him being laying on the ground looking up. So again, that like that shift in where Bomb is now in his life. Aw, you did. You can control the light Shinsu thing now. Good job. Ooh, and again, he's facing downwards. So he's facing down towards Rachel. His hand is going down instead of up towards the light. The light is behind him. A complete shift. 180 of where he is now, and he's not waiting for Rachel to come to him. He's pulling Rachel along with him. I like it. I like some symbolism, but be careful of his hand. He is injured. Oh dear, what happened? Why are we pushing? Why are we pushing? What is that supposed to accomplish? Why? Can he fall out of the bubble? Can he fall out of the bubble? Rachel, you better not be doing what I think you're doing, or we're gonna have words. What are we doing? Hang on. The betrayal though of him, like, oh my God, I was just talking about how he's like up, you know, and he's looking down instead of having to like reach up, and now we've completely flipped it again where he's back to like, you know, reaching upwards. Oh no. Oh, I hope he can swim. Oh my gosh, the betrayal though. I was just like, what would she have to do for him not to forgive her? Why? Rachel's standing. Oh my God, Pine, you're right. Wait, time out. I was too shocked by the push. She's standing up. Oh my God, what is happening? My brain, like my heart rate is really fast, and my brain is like there's white noise. I'm trying to process what's going on. Why? How? I knew I shouldn't trust you. I'm like, oh, I'm upset that I was right. I went through like so much of this where I was like, I don't like Rachel, feeling like maybe I'm being too judgmental. Maybe it's just me and I should be more open. And now I'm just like, I was right. I knew she was gonna do something. Oh no. Yes, why? I also want to know why. You can't end my chapter there. I need to know why. What is happening? Okay, so what was that? What was that? Like, I have so many questions. Like, we spent so much of that where I was talking about how Rachel's face was in shadows and she's been facing away from Bomb the whole time, so there was obviously this disconnect between them. I love the parallel of having them literally face to face in the flashback where they were directly talking to each other and like communicating in a normal way that we would, and then having all of these moments in the present where they're back to back, they're not looking at each other. We had lots of pulled out shots where we weren't able to like read body language and stuff like that, and it also made them seem very small and kind of this big big unknown space that they were in. And so I was like, there's something, she's hiding something, there's something processing through her head. And I was like, I don't know if it's her, I don't know, thinking of what she's going to do now as she goes up the tower, if it was the fact that she had some kind of plan to separate herself from Bomb. We've seen her before say that she didn't want Bomb coming with her, or if it was because she was processing through getting injured and paralyzed. We're gonna have to come back to that point in a little bit, you know, feeling guilty for needing to rely on someone like Bomb and other people and that kind of a thing, and kind of processing through her thoughts of that. And then we had Bomb in his wonderful moment of like being able to do something on his own and having that strength and not needing to rely on someone else to like help him with a strategy or come to his rescue, him coming up with his own thing and prevailing and having this moment of, you know, standing up and not having to reach towards the light. Instead, he was in this kind of higher ground moment where we had lots of shots of angled up at him and him, you know, reaching down to Rachael, like I said, to pull her up instead of waiting for her to come and, you know, help him up. I'm pretty sure we had another scene where when she came and he was laying down, she like reached down and helped him stand up. So we had that reversal of it. It was a great kind of character growth moment, and it was so beautiful for like a second. And then we had Rachael, and I don't even know how to take it apart because I am in shock. I am confused. I'm mad at someone hurting Bomb like that, like not just probably physically and that he has just been pushed out of the bubble and is now sinking in the water, but also emotionally hurting him because it's Rachael and him being betrayed by anyone that he considers a friend. Again, loneliness is a huge thing for him. He wants to feel like people need him. Rachael especially though. And then she's not injured. Well, okay, she might be injured in some way, probably, but she's not paralyzed. She's standing up.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm like, I don't even know. You guys, I'm gonna need time to think about this, honestly, and I'm sure I will have lots of thoughts, but mostly I just feel like vindicated in the fact that I have had my suspicions about Rachael up to this point, and I feel like I've been proven in some way, but I'm also mad. So that's where I'm at after all of that, until I've further processed through my feelings. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Tower of God reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!